Welcome to Cosmic Divide, episode 54, with me, TMV, and today I am joined by a very special guest, the creator of One Spank Theory, Mr. Shyowager. Yeah, an interesting start straight away there to the episode. But yeah, today we're going to talk about a little bit on Spank Theory, a little bit about predicting champs. I think now's a great time to predict who's going to make champs because there are some things that are clear, and there are some things which I think are very unclear that we will get into. So yeah, we're gonna dive into all that. Take a look at the champ point situation as well, because of course that I feel like people know of its existence, but like don't really consider that like that's the most important point. Like if you think that the best teams in each region will make the top two, then whoever's third and fourth in champ points really matters, right? Like for instance, do you know who's fourth in champ points in Americas right now? Little viewer watching this, do you know, Shyo?
No, I can't even take a guess.
It's Crew.
Honestly.
Crew are currently fourth. So if G2 and Sen finish in the top two, which you would think like, yeah, that probably will happen, right? Like those two are the clear best two teams. Well, then Crew would make champs as if it stayed as it is, right? So, things like that, do matter, right? And it could vastly change who you think does make champs. But first, before we get into all those predictions, Shyo, last week you were on Plat Chat, and in particular, you referenced this in the Mibr game. The Mibr had been spanked a couple times and were going to get out of it, essentially, even though they looked completely down and out, and they were playing a team on the rise as well in 100 Thieves, and you were absolutely correct. So go off about, take your victory lap about why you were so correct and why this theory is true.
Everybody, first of all, I need to like, I've got a lot of people part of this cult now, the Spank cult, so to speak, or I'm going to say the theory cult, because there will be many more theories coming through. And I was super depressed watching this game as well, because when we were down 10-2, there was sadness, but in my heart, I was like, damn, this is maximum spankage. Like they can't, if they lose this org is boomed. Like someone's got to step up. And then Cortesia did. And I think the first Icebox game, like they looked like a real team as well. We were talking about, I think me, you, and Josh were co-streaming, and it was like, MIBR looked like they're kind of back. But the Spank 3 doesn't just mean a team is kind of, is making a comeback. It's not just anyone that's playing against gentle mates, so to speak.
Yeah.
It's teams that are like, it's teams that are good, and when they play bad, it's in a way that's incohesive to what their identity is. And that's just kind of what I saw from MIBR. Like week after week, it's not like, Osboss was in the best angles and losing. These guys didn't even seem like themselves. They seemed like the NBA players in Space Jam that got their powers taken away and given to the Monstars. Like they did not look like a team that was awake or in the pilot seat driving anything. So I usually think around week 3, week 4, I look back at some of the other stages. That's when upsets happen. And this is like the only like top 3 team that's not seeming like themselves. So yeah, I was like, let's hit it up. Let's see what happens. I know it's 100 Thieves, but we'll talk about them later a little bit too. They're one of these teams that are kind of like Crew, where if you don't have momentum, there's a problem. And if MIBR win a pistol, if they get some momentum, we're in the business. So I wasn't just throwing shit at the wall to be like a little gremlin this week. There was some thought behind the spank. So yeah, shout outs to MIBR again. Won on their terms and lost a little bit on their terms as well, which is really cool to see. It's a good time, and there'll be many more spanks for the years to come. But remember, kids, it's for the good teams that are playing like they don't seem like themselves. It's not for any team that makes a comeback. And it's also sometimes for some bad teams that are really held down. Shout out Zeta as well, that rose against their oppressors.
Yeah, I mean, they rose up hard. They came back with a vengeance. I mean, from being from the brink. I just was thinking whilst I was watching this round here, how crazy it is that 100 Thieves end up losing to time. It's only a 3v2 here. I was just thinking about this. How have you lost to time when it's a 3v2 and like only action has happened on the A site this entire round? Like that's almost impressive to be this slow in this retake and lose to time. I was just, how have you done that? Because like, look, they're all here. The spike went down like 5 seconds ago. Everyone's here, and they lose to time. Kind of crazy.
It's such a confidence thing, man. It's crazy. 100 Thieves gonna have to solve this situation, this problem, which I think Sentinels used to have like week 1 of stage 1. God tier roster now, right? Like they made some really cool changes, but again, experience on the server is a whole other thing. It was just crazy.
Yeah, but well, one thing I want to get your take on now, though, right, is post Spank Theory. What happens now to the MIBRs and Zeta divisions? Do they do they carry on according to Spank Theory? As you know, are they hard for a significant amount of time, or do they then go soft again and need to get spanked again to feel something?
So this is like on the type of person, right? So if you're a Zeta who's never kind of been in that pilot seat, never been top 3, correct me if I'm wrong, because you know my 22 to 24 ball knowledge.
They
might
did
not be as
finish
hard as
third
yours.
place famously in Masters Reykjavik once, and then completely fell off afterwards.
True. So since then, if they've been like this for teams like them, like I think this is one of the reasons Sliggy was saying there needs to be an LCQ. Like now, deflation. Like we're leaving the hotel room and you're going back to your 9 to 5, where you come home and you go straight back to sleep. No dating life, no spanking anymore. It's kind of done. MIBR though, about to hit France, model runway, Amsterdam, like red light district levels of like we're getting into things now. You know, like a top 3 team that still has a chance week 3 in their region, right? They got a chance to keep it rolling. I don't know how far they can take it, but this is kind of like a revitalization rather than a celebration. I think for Zeta, a nice like pompadour parade to end their season, but for MIBR, like a awakening to keep things rolling. They got some momentum, yeah.
Okay, so MIBR, well, I mean, don't want to give away too much for your predictions, but you're predicting that MIBR will at least continue to be pretty good, and that group will be continue to be all over the place. Okay,
yes,
wonderful.
Yes.
So there we go. So teams will stay good. Teams that have been spanked and got hard, they're gonna continue on their reign and yeah, potentially get jiggy with it with some other teams. We'll see. We'll see. Is there any other teams you're looking at now?
Ooh.
Like for a new team that might this week, you know, like come around and maybe have taken one too many spanks. You know, I'll throw some out there. Is it possible Gentle Mates are a Spank Theory team? They're not a Spank Theory team.
Gentle Mates are, dude, I don't even know what to
They're in a different realm.
Those guys. They're a different realm.
They're in a different. What about someone like Boom?
Boom at this point have like what, a Zeta type situation going on?
Yeah, they can't make playoffs this stage, so
yeah, like we might have like a Zeta boomage, but like I also like, who are they playing against, right? That's another big factor, is who you're playing against. Like they're playing against Zeta. That's not a Spank Theory situation. Like you've got to have like a dominator and a Spanky in a sense, right? So
okay.
I mean Zeta, not really. There's nothing. Yeah. No Darth Vader here. There's no big bad. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. So it's very specific Spank Theory. Has to come at a specific time as well.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Specific opponent, specific team, and then there's an A/B situation going on with, you know, what happens to the teams as well. What types of teams there are. Yeah.
Okay. All makes sense. It's all coming together. This theory. It's all coming together. But with that said, so no Fioria. Josh said the Furia are outside the realm of Spank Theory.
Furia, like, they'd have to be good at some point, like at all ever. Like, and were they? Like, not even.
What about a team like EG?
Depends on who they're. So if it's MIBR, Spank Theory could always be active, right? Because they were a top 3 team. EG would have to spank like they'd have to wake up against Sentinels for it to be Spank Theory.
Okay,
that's what it is. If it's an irrelevant team, because I'm gonna call EG slightly irrelevant to like the top 4 situation. I know 23 was a good year, different roster, different situation. Now they're kind of in the realm of the few. They're getting close to the pits of the bottom, you know. And if they want to slap back amongst this theory, it's got to be against the GOAT. It can't be a Boom versus Zeta. It's got to be EG versus Sen. It's got to be like EG versus G2, which I don't know what NA's saying right now, where they're going to be happening next. It's EG versus Sen. Could be Spank Theory. Could be.
Possible Spank Theory game coming up. I mean, if EG beats Sen, this has gone too far. We've gained too much power.
Yeah, I need social service. What's it called? The security or whatever. The secret services is what it is. Yeah, gotta hide me up. It's crazy.
Okay, let's move on away from Spank Theory now, and talk about these different regions. And we can spend some time here, you know, because I did want to devote like a whole episode to talking about this, because I do think it's interesting. And now is kind of, I think, a perfect time to dive into it, because there's enough unknowns about what's going to happen to where, you know, you could realistically, you know, like if we wait a couple of weeks, 1, China will be over and we'll probably know. 2, like you'll know who's not in playoffs fully. You know, you could still make a case for an EG, right? I think EG are going to go on a run. You could still do that, but in a couple of weeks, it might just look like there's no way EG are going to go on a run, right? So I thought now was an interesting time to do it. Let's start with China, though, who have completed their group stage. So we do know who is in the playoffs. And this is currently what it looks like in China. I'll zoom in a little bit so you can see. So EDG, so it's quite close at the top, right? This is not an America situation where, you know, things are very different. Like at the top here, it's quite close, right? You got EDG and XLG both on 13 points. You got Billy on 12 and then Wolves on 10, right? So Wolves are eliminated from playoffs. You can see that this is, you know, not green and is grayed out here for stage 2. They only got 1 point. But it is quite interesting that, you know, for these 3 top teams who are all in the playoffs, they could make on points if, you know, these other teams, you know, get in there, but they also could not if 2 other teams, you know, from this group down here, if they get to the top 2 instead, then one of these teams could find themselves out. Now, Wolves can still make it, and I will be talking about this later on, but just to go down the list as well. So Trace can supplant Wolves. DRG can supplant Wolves if they finish 3rd. So without even finishing in the top 2, they could make it, those 2 teams. Everyone else cannot finish in the top 4. So for FPX, Tyloo, and AG, they need to finish in the top 2 spots to make it to champs, right? So just keep that in mind. So like, for instance, for FPX, you would say, you know, even though FPX have looked okay during parts of the stage, are they going to finish in the top 2? Not so sure, right? Not so sure. So that is what it looks like on the points, quite close at the top, and a couple teams who can get into that top 4. But now looking at the actual playoff bracket, because we do have the bracket in China as well, this is what it looks like. So we've got EDG against DRG in one of the games with Zhilai waiting for them. Then you've got AG versus Tyloo with Billy waiting for them. And in the lowers, you've got Trace and FPX starting in the lowers. So I think, Shyo, let's start off by talking about this playoff bracket. You know, which sides, which teams do you think, like, of these teams, you know, does have a decent chance of going on a run and making it into the top 2? Who would you be looking at from China?
For sure. Just to clarify, does this playoff bracket offer more champs points based on how you finish, or are all the champs points locked now?
So here's how the champ points works. You only get champ points for finishing in the top 4.
Okay.
So you get, I think it's 7 for first, 5 for second. And again, those points for first and second obviously those are just for seeding, essentially, because the top 2 will make it anyway. So that's just for seeding purposes, essentially. But 3rd and 4th, you get 4 and 3 points. So 4 for finishing 3rd, 3 for finishing in 4th. But for winning games or finishing 5th, 6th, nothing. You don't get anything for winning games.
And then for the context you just ran over there, if DRG or another specific team like Trace make it to the top 3 or 4, then Wolves is knocked out. So this is like underlying
guaranteed.
Wolves story is still going. It is very possible as well with what we're looking at over here.
It is very, very possible.
Yeah.
So yeah, DRG need to finish 3rd. So if DRG get to the lower final, then Wolves are out. And Trace just need to get to lower round 3. But Trace are already starting in the lowers. So again, just to run through the Wolves thing quickly, essentially they need Zhilai, Billy, or EDG. They need those 2 teams to finish in the grand final. Basically, they need 2 of the top 3 to finish in the grand final, and then they just need Trace and DRG to not make 3rd or 4th for Trace, which is very possible.
That's wild.
Especially because if EDG beat DRG, Trace would then play DRG. So one of those teams would already be
knocked
out, definitely. So
and then Trace would face like Zhilai or the loser of that one, which might be EDG or DRG again.
Yeah.
Like someone's losing before getting to the top 3. Yeah.
Basically, yes. It's looking like that's the thing. It is very possible that Wolves actually do this. It genuinely is possible. But Shyo, you give me let's talk about who you think will win China. Let's start there. Who's gonna win China stage 2 in your opinion?
For me, I've been like kind of discounting them a little bit, but I've got like my chat is very biased towards BLG. And like honestly, they've been looking to be leveled up, especially after their stint inside Toronto, in terms of like it might have not gone that far, but like again, this is the only thing I have from Toronto. I was at a lot of these press conferences. I got to watch the stories on and off the stage, and like, you know, people like just Neff have leveled up as leaders so much, and that experience from that stage now in playoffs and this type of pressurized situation, the team just looks better. Like Russia, I feel like had an activation from that event, and we've seen it in China game after game for BLG. I think they're in contention to be like #1 seeding overall on like even just match or round diffs as well between them and Zhilai. You can argue about like, you know, which side of the bracket was harder or whatever it is, but these guys have truly leveled up in their gameplay. And as much as I believe in DRG, I'm gonna have like a Shyo winner and like a realistic winner, okay? Because I like to live in fantasy land. I'd love to see DRG go on a run. You're asking me about runs here. But again, map pool for them. They're facing 2 Titans in a row. If these guys do go on a run, I feel like they make it deep in champs, because beating teams like this from their region would just give them the fuel, the firepower. There'd have to be such a big difference in the whole team to beat Edward and Zeli to get towards an upper final. It would be cinema. But realistically, Billy have AG and Tyloo, who've just leveled up off of like China in this stage.
Yep, they got a
BLG's
nice draw.
used to the playoffs. Yeah. It's been a while since these guys have, you know, even made it to like an upper semifinals in general. Both these teams, and I think Billy has a lot of VODs on like the new age of this team as well, where I feel like AG and Tyloo might not have as much experience against this type of monster of Billy. I just think everything's set up for them to easily make it and win this stage entirely. We've seen the BLG versus Zeli matchup in the past. We've seen EDG failing inside playoffs, I think generationally throughout the year. It just makes all room for Billy to take the crown. And I think it's time for me to finally give them the flowers they deserve. It's like kind of a little bit of a hate watcher sometimes, where I'm like, I want to go against the chatters and be like, no, my DRG will beat everyone. It's going to be fine. I think it's Billy season. I don't know what you think.
I think Billy should be the favorite. I mean, as I'm showing right here, for those of you who didn't see it, they did beat EDG in the last game of the Chinese group stage to win that group. So they've kind of, you know, they beat them 2-0. You know, they kind of proved like, hey, we're better than EDG. And yeah, I do think China is a bit open. I don't, you know, it's not like, you know, if you look at towards the top of like EMEA and Americas, I think you can definitely see like, you know, and we'll get into this with our predictions, but I would assume that, you know, I mean in Americas there are 2 guaranteed teams, so you know they better be. If you haven't put G2 and Sen in your champs prediction team, Shyo, I am going to question that, because it is a fact. It's not like an opinion, it's just a fact. But yeah, I do think China's a bit more open in terms of you could go a different ways, but I do agree that BLG are probably the favorites. One, because their side of the group draw, as you said, is pretty favorable, right? Like they're gonna play the winner of AG Tyloo. They're gonna be pretty favored there to win that, get to this upper final. Once you're at the upper final, you're in the top 3 already. Like you should have a pretty good chance, right? So
yeah,
I do think that Billy should be the favorite. I've actually gone in a different way. Okay. I have picked a different team, and this doesn't make much logical sense if you've watched them play. I've actually said that EDG will win.
Really?
I know.
Really?
I know that EDG have been bad. Like they've actually been really underwhelming. And when you watch them play, they are really underwhelming. They've made roster moves, right? They brought in HM, however you say his name. ZJC. They then, you know, got rid of him and brought back Jenny. Right, so I think that with a bit more time, assuming they stick with the same roster, and you know maybe they're swapping the roles around a bit to play Euro, which by the way I think is like, I don't like teams that chase meta when they're not good at that meta. I just gotta tell you, like, you don't have to do it. Take a page from GenG's book. GenG don't play Euro because like Texture doesn't like playing Euro. They're still one of the best teams. It's not like Yoru is so much better than every other agent that you literally cannot, like, maybe sometimes there are metas where that is the case, right? Where it's just like, you really should be playing this agent, otherwise you are playing at disadvantage. But even those are rare. And I know some of you are thinking Teo meta. I'm not even sure that Teo like rose to that level where you simply must play him. I think you could have got away with not doing it. I mean, we literally saw T1 win a tournament without doing it. So.
I mean, Bangkok, like who won Bangkok, right? Like, I don't think this is a League of Legends game again. This is not like a game where you need to play certain characters that are meta defining. Shoot and die. Some guy said it at some point in a different way, but like that's just kind of the way, right? Like it's just but you really think that EDG are locking it in?
Right. Here's the thing. Like, let me explain why.
Yeah.
Because, well, one, EDG have done this before in China. And I do think one thing that EDG have lost is they used to have this unbeatable aura in China. Like, their aura would win them games even when they weren't playing well at all. That, I think, has worn off this year. I do think that aura has somewhat disappeared, and teams know that, oh, we can beat EDG because all these other teams have done it. So, you know, they're not that good. You know, they didn't make their first international, for instance. Like, so I think other teams have realized that EDG don't have that same aura that they used to, and that is a nerf to them. But I don't know. I've just got this strange feeling that they, like, it's champs, and they are the current holders of champs. You know, they are the defending champions of a champs. And look, I think they're likely to go either way, even if they don't win. But I just think that they're going to lock in. And actually, I think they'll do it through the lowers. I think that they'll lose to like Gilai and then go on a lowers run and come all the way back. I know, it's crazy.
What chaos is this?
It is chaos.
Gets knocked to the lowers, they're gonna go out. That's my thing. I'm with you if they're winning. Like, I think this team needs to win, max win, spin those slots, and smile big. If they drop down, like, I think we're gonna get a heretics level of pressure on them with what you're saying being absolutely true. These guys are champs winners. I want to be there. I want to be at champs. What's going on? Like, yeah, 100% agree with you. I think they're going either way. But, like, the style in which they're getting there, I think the minivan is still going to lose its front bumper and one wheel's going to fly off as they slide into Paris, right? And then maybe at Paris is where they start to lock in because the pressures might be a little bit more off. It's like, okay, it's international EDG. This is where we do our thing. Bold take, though. I like it. I mean, they have a nice first matchup against DRG, right?
Yeah,
like,
it's a bold take.
DRG's coming off a hot win, too. I mean, like, this is
I understand.
Yeah.
I understand. It's but well, we'll see. We shall see. Okay, so those were our winners, but obviously 4 teams will go to champs. Now again, keep the points in consideration. You've got kind of the top 3, then Wolves in 4th, you know, who are in a perilous situation. But let's go through. I think the best way of doing this, Shyo, is you just slowly read out the 4 teams, and I will simply say agree, or then if we disagree, I will just press the fucking absolutely not button and we'll talk about it. So go on, give me your 4 teams.
We have BLG.
Correct.
XLG.
Correct.
EDG.
Correct.
And DRG.
Wrong. Wrong. I knew, obviously, I knew this was going to go this way. Let's actually just quickly talk then. So we both agree the top 3 teams will make it, right? It would be quite hard for them not to, especially considering like both XLG and BLG are starting here in the upper semifinals. Like, for those 3 teams to not make it, it would probably mean like EDG losing this game against DRG, and then like both of these teams losing as well and going straight to the lowest. Like, that is realistically the way that those 3 teams don't make it. Because again, as soon as like one of them makes the grand final, that's pretty much it. Like, they're done, because the other teams can't catch, you know, the other 2. So basically, yeah, these 3 teams just need one of them. They just need to conspire to get one of them in the grand final, and they should be good. Which seems...
what's that? I can hear the comments already saying, Shyo, TMV, in stage 1, it was all upsets. How did RRQ make it? And DRX wasn't there. What's going on? Listen, Teo meta's not here. It's an honest meta. I think every team's actually fighting each other without some secret strat book or some way to play the game that were just learned in the last month, right? So this time, I think the upset stages of the playoffs are gone. This is actual honest playoffs completely. Sorry to interrupt with the comments, but I was hearing them really loud below, so I had to calm them down.
Well, the comments are stupid then, because again, with the way points work, you only need one of those 3 teams to make that grand final. That's happening. It's happening. Yeah. Whether they get in on points or making it, it's happening. But who's
your 4th? What's your 4th?
You know who my 4th is.
Wolves?
Of course it's Wolves. Of course my 4th is Wolves, which again, they aren't in playoffs. They are going to need... Wolves need the opposite of that to happen. Wolves need those 3 teams to lock in, essentially. So for those 3, they just need one of them to make the grand final. For Wolves, they need all 3 of them. I mean, ideally to make the top 3. If those 3 do end up being the top 3, Wolves should be in a very good spot. There's only one way then that Wolves don't make it, which is Tech. Specifically Tech finish 4th. That's the only way. Tech. Why am I saying Tech? Trace. I thought like a panic attack. Yeah, not Tech. Tech are terrible. They didn't make playoffs. I for some reason was like Trace or TE and said Tech. But Tech is a different team. I mean Trace. Trace can't finish 4th. But again, if basically it's what I want to happen, and for you and DRG, it's what you want to happen. Tell me though,
That's
with
true.
DRG, because again, for Wolves to make it, they need those three to finish top three essentially. And I would say, I'm gonna say that. Well, I mean, I did a pick 'em here. Who did I pick to come fourth? You know who I picked to come fourth? Look at this. DRG. So I'm saying that DRG would be one game off, essentially, in my prediction.
Yeah.
How do
Which
you
might
have
be
DRG
possible.
making it? Do you have DRG making it on points by getting to third? Do you think that they will finish in the top two? Do you think they'll win their, difficult games against, EDG and G-Lai? Will they be able to, what's your path for DRG making it?
My path is them beating EDG, but then losing to Z-Live and making it through like a two-step lowers, like a Euro step lowers, pretty much, but not getting past third. I think they slap
So they
on third.
slop on third, and they just make it on
sad.
points. Yeah,
I'm
that would be
also
very
sad
sad for me.
Me too. Honestly, man, like Wolves is such a good storyline, and like I'm just calling this as like my favorite honorable mention because I think the three stories you have for fourth, the most realistic, in my opinion, are Trace, FPX, and Wolves. I think those are the three most realistic ones. This is like, I think based off just this last week of China, like the very last match, DRG kind of slide in there because they looked really good in their final game. But like FPX started the stage off so well. Trace have been here since like Bangkok in a sense. So it's like, a cool run back. But people can choose their poison. I just think, through the lower bracket, picking DRG because why not? Like imagine Fukashu, people get to see who he is. Like all these Sen fans will just like, my job, honestly, I think everyone's job, like you as a Wolves stan, everyone, is just to take away the Sen fans slowly, chip away at this org, show them more Sufats, show them more Fukashus, and just take the fans, man. That's the goal for these champs, I think.
Okay, well, let's just quickly talk about the teams that we haven't mentioned then, and kind of just how much of a chance do they have, right? Let's start with these two, which are the glue derby is what I'm going to call it. It was all gluers versus Thai glue, who last year certainly and for the start of this year were just the two teams that were terrible. Like they were beyond salvageable, like the actual worst teams of VCT by a distance. But now they find themselves actually being pretty decent teams there. I think they both won 3 games in their group stage, so competent, like good, decent teams. Whoever wins this game is playing Billy, which I don't think either of us think is great. What chance would you give these two realistically? As you say, they don't have a lot of experience, but is there any hope?
Okay, this is gonna go like against everything I said for the last like 15 minutes about upsets, but Ty Lu, genuinely, I think dead in the water. Like it's cool that they got here to this point, but just like based on strength of roster per player. And like some of the highlights we've been seeing from the matches, I think this team plays very well. But when you need those individualistic pop-offs, I just don't think the team has what it takes at this stage to get there versus the teams that are here right now. AG though, man, AG have looked pretty darn good. It's crazy.
Spitfire,
Spitfire, they'll be as well. Shrimp, cooking fried rice on the server 24/7. Dude, I'm giving them like a 60% chance. Like if they beat Ty Lu, upset BLG, they might even get for. It sounds crazy.
Do you think that's actually possible though? That they upset BLG?
I think it's actually genuinely it's possible, just based off like BLG having a bad day or something. Not even like.
But then they got to finish in the top 2. They would then need to win again.
Yep. I understand that. I know they're going up against what Z-Lai or like. That's I think where the mess up is. I think the first 2 games very possible. That third one, based on like whatever new thing that's going on, that's going to be voted down in those 2 matchups, would be the impossible. And that's why they're not like, they're slightly above 50 for me because I just like the way I've seen this team play, but they're not like at an 80 or 90% chance of like a crazy upset. I think this is one of the only teams so far that has a chance to make it top 2 and really push through and take that win because they can also afford a loss, right? If they do lose,
they can lose.
They jump down. They have a little bit of a lower bracket run. It's also possible there. But that's just because Spitfires and the way this entire team has changed this stage, they look great, man. They actually look really great.
Let's talk quickly then about the other 2 teams starting in the lowers. Again, Trace for them.
Yeah.
There are worlds where, if they just finish 4th, they can make it, right? And FPX probably have the hardest job of anyone because they can't lose a game and they have to finish in the top 2. So for FPX, the chances are pretty slim. They're going to have to win 1, 2, 3. They're going to have to win 4 games in a row without losing against good teams. They're pretty dead, I think. If they do it, honestly, absolutely fair play, and I will be so in on FPX if they can do that, because that would be a crazy run. For Trace, though, there is a decent chance. They just need to win 2 games. They could
Yep.
do that. But they will have a tough game first up, playing the loser of EDG DRG. Like, they'll probably be underdogs in that, no matter who plays.
That's very true. And I think historically, I've just had issues with this Trace roster as well. Like, I think they keep running into the same problems too, where like one side of the roster, whether it's like the controller or the initiator duelist combo fixes itself, you know, Loking a little bit falls behind or is not on the same pace as everyone else. I think that he's kind of still the star player of this team in general, but I'm not sure what Trace needs to be like on that next level. I think they're just kind of hard stuck middle of the pack, better than all the bottom tier teams in my opinion. Like they have just a skill diff there, but to make it to the upper echelon, I'm not sure if it's like team strats or whatever it is, but they just kind of seem flat on most of the days I see them play. Playoff team though, I mean they've done it before. They've done a pretty good job at showing, you know, good teamwork when the pressure is on the line, but I'm not sure from this position if it's as easy. And yeah, FPX, like the big thing too is that the lower round 1 is played and then you have like a 10-day break.
Yeah.
So like FPX could have like lots of VODs to study for some people they might be facing later on that are going to be playing as well.
Yeah.
And I think they can utilize it the most. Like I know it's a situation that's kind of bad because they can't lose, but it's also good because they get that break and then they just have 3 days of games in a row. 22nd, I think, or 21st, 22nd, 23rd, and it's done. And that's a pretty good arena for them to play in. Definitely possible. I think just like AG, some of the best names right now. I think Life has had like I think the most highlights this season out of like almost any player. And like you know, I'm a Vukashu stan. This guy is just going crazy. Autumn is also playing so well. But yeah, you're right. Four wins in a row is going to be a little bit tough.
Yeah. Yeah, agree with all of that, to be honest. I'm, just praying that Billy, EDG, and G-Lai lock in. Let's go Wolves. It would be crazy if Wolves made it and then, like, went on a run in champs after not even making playoffs. That would be so cool if that happened. I'd be very worried that the opposite would happen and they would turn up and be terrible. But maybe they're just international goats. Maybe they just need to play away from China to be good. And that's what I'm hoping happens. Anyway, let's move on to Pacific then. And again, we'll start off like we did talking about China, where we'll talk about the point situation first. So this is where we find ourselves. PRX up at the top, 14 points. GenG and T1 both have 12. DRX on 11. RRQ on 10. And then Talon on 7. And then Nongshim on 5. And then you can see again, the red is teams that are eliminated from playoffs. So Global, Zeta, and Boom. The kind of yellow teams here are the teams that could still make the playoffs, but can't make. They have to finish top 2, essentially, right? So Nongshim, DFM, Secret, they all need to finish top 2. In reality, Talon are there as well because there's so many teams up here that they basically have to finish top 2, but I guess there's some maybe world where, you know, if everything went their way, they could not finish top 2, but in reality, Talon also have to finish top 2. And then you've got this 5 teams. So basically in Pacific, you got this 5 teams who can maybe make it on points. And this is why, by the way, this RRQ DRX game and DRX winning, super, super important. And that actually could be the game that, like, you know, if those two don't make top 2, either of them, like, that could be the game that actually decides, like, oh, DRX went and RRQ didn't. That's why that was kind of such an important game for those teams. But yeah, we kind of got a top 5 and then kind of the rest. We'll take a look now as well at what kind of the groups are looking like in Pacific. Because of course we still got 1 game left to play. So here is that. Let me zoom in. We'll do one at a time here. So this is Group Alpha. GenG 3-1, DRX 3-1, RRQ 2-2, Nongshim 2-2, and then Global can't make it. Secret can at 1-3. But yeah, this group, you know, kind of going probably as you would somewhat predict. You know, kind of as you might expect this group to look, honestly. And then in Group Omega, it's quite interesting. 3-1 teams in Talon, PRX, DFM. T1 at 2-2. Zeta at 1-3 and Boom at 0-4. But these 4 teams are locked into playoffs. These 2 cannot make the playoffs. So it is going to be these 4 teams who are there. So with that in mind, looking at these groups, looking at the point situation, let's just dive straight into it. Let's dive head first. Tell me, Shyo, who is going to win Pacific Stage 2?
Man, the issue with Pacific is that, like, you could theorize everything you want, but when the playoff bracket comes out and like two of your finishers are against each other, like your top
which
four
will
finishers,
happen
you're like,
almost certainly.
yeah, it's like, oh, well, now they're not gonna make like it's just if we could just do it like a ladder, if we just didn't have playoffs and it was just based off group stage finishes, I would know the top four are every single time in Pacific, every single time. But it's just the way they get pitted against each other is the whole thing. Still, for me, after all this preamble, the number one winner for me is going to be PRX. I think PRX coming into this are 100% winning. I think a lot of their competition is on the other side of the group, and they haven't actually played them in server yet, like when it actually matters. Of course, you know, PRX probably scrimming DRX and Gen G a lot because Omega and Alphas scrim all the time. But when we're actually getting into the server, just the aura that PRX have, like you're talking about, that, you know, EDG might have washed away, it's been doubled. Like Divine's light has been cast, and, you know, holy protection has been cast on them. And these guys are like unstoppable, untouchable, unbreakable. I think them versus Gen G is kind of a close race inside Pacific in terms of, I think, the crowd favorites as to who people want to win. But I think going from a international win into a stage win is going to be such a sick story coming into champs, because man, we're stacking trophies. Can we do 3 in 1 year? Like, I think what Fnatic in 23 was the closest to like a dynasty like that. Like from PRX getting second all the time to just getting a three-peat would be insane in terms of a story.
Yeah, and this obviously is the first time that we might get one region winning all of the, you know, even if it's not Paper X, just one region winning all of the trophies has never happened before. In Valorant history either. So this would, you know, that would truly mark like the Pacific era, I think, of like, you know, undoubted. I mean, it already is, like, everyone I think understands and accepts the Pacific is just the best region right now, but that would truly be a stamp of like, there is no debate. There is no debate whatsoever. So you've got Paper X. I have gone a bit of a different way to Paper X. I've gone with Gen G, which again, I don't think is a crazy hot take. I think, you know, most people would find that an acceptable take to think that Gen G, you know, could be a Paper X. Or like you say, you know, maybe Paper X play, you know, a DRX or an RRQ on a bad day and get beaten by one of those teams in the other group and, you know, end up in a lowers. And, it, you know, the way the bracket shakes out could be tougher on one side than the other. So, yeah, I've gone for Gen G to win. But let's do it the other way this time. I'm going to read my teams out, and you're going to tell me whether I'm correct or whether I'm dead wrong. Okay, so I've got Gen G
winning first. Okay, who's Gen G beating in the grand final?
I'm gonna say Paper Rex.
Both correct for me so far. Both correct. I just haven't flipped. I haven't flipped in the grand finals.
I've got RRQ. Oh,
okay, that's the first. And
I've got DRX.
Cha-ching. I like that one as well. Let's go.
Okay, so who have you got instead of RRQ?
I have, and it's a long shot right now because there's a chance they don't make it. Still, I think T1. I have T1, and it was a tough battle between T1 or being on the wave by wave DFM train, because again, if I'm thinking about it statistically, I want the boring Pacific top 4. The people call it boring. It's the most fun for me. Mine was PRX, Gen G, DRX, T1, which is like you giving me a cheeseburger with ketchup and mustard.
The top four in points. Again, if you do have Paper X and Gen G finishing, you know, top 2, as it stands, that would be the case. But again, RRQ could finish 3rd or 4th and, you know, jump ahead of these teams depending on what happens. But yeah, that would be your kind of bread and butter, you know, classic take.
It's specific. The format ruins Pacific every time for the classic, for the bread and butter. It's one of those artisan shops that only have the fancy bread, only have the crazy specials every day. It's a gelato station, right? You're gonna get chocolate strawberries. You're gonna get, like, I don't know, mango, hazelnut fusions. Like, you never get your top 4. So we have to consider. You're saying RRQ.
I'm saying RRQ.
Really good shout. I'm a hate watcher sometimes of RRQ because, you know, I was rooting for them really hard in Toronto, and then you see what happens. It's unfortunate, but also it's not really their fault at the end of the day. You know, the roster changes last minute. DFM and Talon need to be talked about. What are your thoughts on the shots for their?
They do need to be talked about. First off, let me give the case for RRQ, and then we'll move to DFM and Talon.
Yeah.
So RRQ, what do I like about RRQ and what don't I like? What I don't like about RRQ is some of their more recent meta things about the Waylay. I don't.
Yeah.
Whilst Waylay has been shown to provide some value, I still very much think no one has found like a consistent like, oh, this is always gonna work. Like this looks good, and there's not an easy way of getting out of it, or even just in the first game that you play it, it's still not even good enough to get a win, right?
Yeah.
So what I'm hoping RRQ learned from this DRX game is that they learn, let's ditch the Waylay. Let's not go for that. If we are going to play double duelist, let's just play Yoru Neon, where we've got one of the best Yorus in the world in Jemkin, and Monyet, has historically looked pretty good on Neon as well. If we're going to play double duelist, let's just lean into that and make that our kind of identity. That's what I'm hoping that they kind of figured out from that loss to DRX, and that they go in that direction. And then I think, because I think when RRQ figure something out, they're really good.
Yeah.
And then when they try stuff that is a little bit more experimental and they're not as sure about, they struggle. So what I'm hoping is that as time goes on, they figure out what works for them. They make playoffs, and then they can go. I don't think they'll finish in the top 2. I think they'll finish 3rd or 4th, and that will give them enough points to beat, well, in my case, I've gone for T1, right? So I'm saying that T1 won't finish in the top 4. They'll finish like 5th, 6th. And RRQ will overtake them on points by finishing like 3rd. That's how I'm seeing it go. But yeah, let's talk about DFM and Talon, who are 2 interesting teams. Now, interesting you said DFM and Talon. First thing I want to, let's just quickly rule out some teams, right? The only other, so Team Secret, no chance. Like they probably won't make playoffs, but even if they did, no chance, right?
No, in my opinion, yeah.
Nongshim probably will make playoffs, but
also ruling them out.
You're not giving them a real consideration.
No, because I first of all, shout out to you for honestly, probably making everybody interested in a region they never watched before through VFL. Because I wouldn't have kept up with Pacific the way I did if I didn't have these people on my team. Straight up, big shout outs. And they disappointed me, man. The weeks this team lost, I was really paying attention. And
that's what's great about VFL. You end up rooting for these players. It's like, these guys fucking suck. What the hell's going on? These players can't play.
Yeah. It's when they look bad, man, it's so bad, and they take time to recover. I think that's the issue with Nongshim. If they're already starting from a low point, right? Because they're not going to be at the upper end of the bracket for playoffs. If they were, I think I'd have a different situation. Maybe Nongshim could upset. I think that's a really cool dark horse to have. But again, put in an FPX playoff situation like we just saw, if the viewers were paying attention to the China section of this podcast, it's I think it's rough for them, man. Especially against the classic cheeseburger of Pacific. I'm going to call them now, the top 4, and the chances of RQ and DFM's wave, everything. I think it's too much for them at the moment.
Yeah. I'm with you there. I don't think, because again, they would have to finish in the top 2. There is no points way. So finishing top 2 in Pacific when you've got 5 teams that have this year looked good at different points. I mean, good luck, right? You're facing against 2 teams that have won internationals this year, and GenG and DRX have been good forever as well. RQ with a 1 seed in stage 1. Good luck finishing the top 2 when you've got them. So yeah, I also don't think. However, Talon and DFM. Having said that, why is there a case for Talon and DFM? Go on, you start us off. Let's start with either of them. Whoever you think. Well, it sounds like DFM. Is that just? Is that because you're just hoping? Is that just because it'd be a fun story?
It's a little bit of a fun story, but it's also just genuine improvement from the team, and again, what you need in playoffs to win in general. I think May in specific and Akame as well have just been 2 people who've been rising in this team in terms of just front force duelist power. I think this is one of those metas as well. I was calling it a double controller meta, but with Yoru in the business as well, it turns into a duelist meta too in terms of how strong someone can be. Yeah, you can see May in the business, and we'll talk about who's right behind them as well in a second. But it's this team is, first of all, surprising to a lot of other teams because they're not being paid attention to. So when it comes to experience facing them in VODage in general, it's not going to be as intense as the eyes that are on T1 or the eyes that are on who else is in the group of Omega, PRX, right?
Yeah, PRX,
I think DFM get that advantage against some of the group alpha teams when it comes to playoffs. I think they're locked in for playoffs as well. I believe they're facing and they can even knock out T1 after this too. This is a team with momentum who's probably gonna have a good spot in playoffs as well. Who again, the way the bracket works, you might be facing Gen G on a loss from the uppers, right?
They
Like if
might
you are in the
they
lower bracket.
might get first seed. They might get a bye. There is a world where they get a bye. In fact, I'm interested in asking you this question. DFM play against T1 this last game.
Yeah.
Who were you picking in this game?
I'm just picking T1 on the sense of like it's do or die for them. And when the ball's in their court, they perform. That's my thing.
Okay.
If they choke though, Zeta's winning, in my opinion. Well, Zeta obviously is winning because they're facing.
I don't think Zeta no, Zeta are done. T1 are in playoffs. They're in playoffs, but they might start in the lowest.
Oh,
because T1 beats.
Okay, true.
T1 beats Zeta, so they have the head-to-head. So
okay, we're chilling.
Everyone's chilling here. So yeah, that game. I mean, it does matter for T1 because they don't want to finish fourth, but.
New information for me. Then I'm picking DFM. I'm swapping because my only thoughts were it's T1's ride or die a time, but
yeah,
I'll pick DFM. Yeah, I have no reason not to.
Wonderful. Now here's the thing, as well. For DFM to finish first in the group, they need Talon to beat PRX. Which, again, talk me through. I mean, we're going back to Spank Theory here a bit. PRX, just face the team on Spank Theory. Do they bounce back from?
Ooh, we didn't talk about this. Like
the bounce back, the team that gets beaten. Yeah.
Oh, what happens then? Dude, that's crazy. Well, okay. I think the way Talon's playing right now as well versus these teams and how they're winning, like kind of with the roster swaps and roles, like with Premi going a little bit to more silent roles, like Sentinel. Sometimes I'm not sure if he plays anything past Sentinel, but I think PRX rolls over them personally.
Okay.
Because I got Forsaken on my roster. He owes me. He owes me 20 extra points right now.
Right? Yeah, that's true. DFL. I'm with you as well. Something and Forsaken both owe me. They owe me a lot of points.
You were actually down bad. That's horrible after last week's result.
Something IGL as well. Like it couldn't have gone worse.
Oh god, yeah, I had Forsaken IGL, so it's a problem. It's tough to call entirely, but I think that PRX off a loss, off of like the Alex washing machine simulator, after what happens then, is going to be looking strong, coming back and doing well. I think some of these good teams that get spanked back coming into the next game look good.
Okay.
100 Thieves, like a team like that, just to go back to the theory real quick, that aren't like the good team, aren't like the Masters winners coming in or rising up getting spanked, could be a setback, could be a weird 2 weeks. But a team like PRX, I think we'll be fine. I think we'll be good.
Okay. Here's my thoughts on this situation. Again, my problem for Talon and DFM is that they can't make it on points, and I just don't see the world where they make top 2. I mean, both of us are in agreement on that because neither of them went for actually having them as champs. I just think even though they're playing well, like the problem is Talon, they can beat a T1. DFM on a good day, could beat a T1. They could on a good day, maybe they could beat DRX, RRQ, maybe even GenG and PRX, right? Like it's possible. It's possible. It's like if DFM do finish first, and again, Talon still can finish first as well, by the way, if they beat PRX and DFM lose, which is also possible. Like they can also finish first. If that does happen, then they only then have to win 2 games. It does become somewhat possible. I don't think that will happen though, and so yeah, I'm with you. I just don't. It just seems one step too far for those teams, I think. But it would not shock me if either of those teams finished 3rd, 4th, and just didn't make it on points. Like that. That wouldn't shock me at all if those teams, did go on a bit of a run, but maybe just end up being a tad short. Because they are fun teams right now. They are fun and looking pretty good overall, I think. So yeah,
I would agree.
It's exciting. And Pacific, I mean, yeah, I'm just excited for Pacific playoffs. Like, it's gonna be fun.
The best
like
thing in the world.
You got 5 good teams that any game between all of them should be fun. And then, like we say, DFM. I mean, Nongshim are gonna be the kind of standout. I don't feel good about them. But everyone else, I feel like. This should be good. I'm excited.
Yeah.
Every game should be kind of a banger. So, yeah, the Pacific playoffs are going to go pretty hard, I think, overall. Anyway, let's move on. Let's move on to EMEA, which, again, as a region right now, this is how we stand. We got Fnatic, who aren't quite, I don't think, because I think it comes up green if they are definitely in. I guess they aren't quite guaranteed in. I think because Liquid, if you win, gets 7 points. So yeah, if Liquid won, oh wait, but wouldn't they be in then anyway? Because Liquid would have to win. They are in. I'm pretty sure they are in. Doing my own maths in my head. Because if Liquid won, they would be on 18 points. But then Liquid have already won. So then you would be third on points. It would go to you.
But isn't it like they still have 2 more weeks to play? So it's like,
oh yeah, maybe
like
Vitality could win
and Liquid win.
No, but Vitality.
Like if Fnatic lose both their games,
yeah,
and then Heretics, Liquid, and Vitality win all their games, because I think Heretics and Vitality already played, right?
But Vitality can't catch Fnatic. You only get 7 points,
but they can put themselves in a situation to end the season with 9 points.
Yeah, but that's only 16.
Playoffs.
Like you can get 9 more points. Vitality can win their 2 games and then get 7 for. Fnatic are in. I'm telling you right now, Shyo. Fnatic are in. Because it's not even Vitality. Like, they would need BBL. You would need, like, think about it. You need 5th place to not, to, like, be able to supplant you, to get out of the top 4. Like, yeah, I think Fnatic are just in. I think this is wrong. They are just in. I mean, either way, it's not, whatever we're kind of theorizing, it doesn't matter. It's not going to happen. Fnatic are in. Okay? Fnatic are just in. After that, these teams actually might not be able to make it. Team Heretics on 12, Team Liquid on 11, then a pretty sizable gap to Vitality on 7, BBL and Foot are on 6, KC Navi are on 4, Giants on 3, Gentlemates Koi on 1, and Apex on a big fat 0. So, looking at all this then, what we're looking at here is essentially a very interesting dynamic where, unlike Pacific, where it's like, you know, all those teams outside of the top 5 like have to finish in the top 2 to make it, essentially. Not here. Here is the opposite case, right? Where you could very easily see, and I'm sure most people would predict, one of Fnatic, Heretics, or Liquid, you know, those 2 of those 3 teams will make it into the grand final, and therefore whoever is in 4th on points will make it to champs. And as you can see, like, there's a 1 point gap in it. Like, you know, it really could be any of these teams. And again, if whoever finishes 3rd, 4th, you get 3 points for just finishing 4th, right? So even your KCs and Navis, you know, could get up to Team Vitality's points. So it's very much on, and I'm very interested to see who you went for in 4th there in EMEA, because you could literally pick pretty much anyone. Maybe not Apex, but you could pick pretty much anyone you wanted to. But let's start off by talking about, who do you think, Shyo, is going to win EMEA?
Winning EMEA for me is going to be Team Liquid.
Liquid, okay. Interesting. Why will Liquid be able to overtake Fnatic and Heretics?
For me, Liquid, I'm looking at them having a better champs run in general than their international placings so far in Toronto, and I believe Bangkok as well. And to do that, map pool needs to be fixed. It's been the biggest issue for them, I think, since the start of the year. They've always had something glaring, either it's comps or they don't have enough strong maps, and that needs to be solidified in this stage. I think Kiko, Nats, always gods in general, but like Patty and Camo have been leveling up, and then they've dropped the issue with having a fill player. You have to understand. Just put this in context for people that don't watch EMEA. Team Liquid have been playing with basically Baby Bay for like the entire year and still making internationals. They have a guy coming in on a fill slot. Of course, more practice than a caster, right? But it can only play like 1 or 2 agents and has like his kind of, you know, routines to do on the map. Lurk here, go there. With Trex in the business now, brother, this team's got 4 wheels on the car. They got like the extra steering wheel from like Cat in the Hat, and they're moving left and right at the same time. It's going crazy, bro. Genuinely. I think this team, with a final solid 5 roster for the final stretch of the year, finally has the chance to win the grand finals. Like, this is the time. And I know Fnatic are also on like a complete heater right now. They are the team to beat, so to speak. But Fnatic have had issues this entire stage where when they lose momentum, they are really reliant on boasters IGLing and the team's kind of perseverance and comebacks. I feel like Liquid's been a team, with Nats on stage or not on stage as well, stopping a lot of these comebacks from kind of getting fully to fruition. They've been a team that's came back as well, almost in one. Shaky Patty, unfortunately, it happens sometimes. But it's like I feel like this is a team that can nullify a lot of the comebacks, and that's as a leader that's really good at identifying what other IGLs want to call and counter calling that as well. I think if there's a Superman in EMEA, this team is the kryptonite. That's just all it is.
Okay, I mean, I'm on board. I mean, it's kind of you know, sticking with your old prediction essentially there a little bit, right? Like you know,
Yeah,
your
the
Team Liquid
long-winded
from the start of the year, sticking with that
Yeah.
pred in a sense. But yeah, this is a bold, it's a bold pred. But you know what's interesting? I think most people would say Fnatic are the favorites right now. I too have not gone Fnatic. I've gone for Team Heretics. I've gone for Team
Really?
Heretics over Fnatic
Okay.
as well. So interesting that neither of us have gone for what I think most people would have as the favorite. The reason that I've gone for Team Heretics over Fnatic is, like, for me personally, like, and again, there is still quite a bit of time in EMEA for things to shake out, right? They've still got multiple weeks left, for instance, of group stage, right? And things might change. And Liquid play Fnatic. Interesting. Actually, I do want your take on that. Do you have Team Liquid beating Fnatic this week?
Yes.
Okay. So you're going in. Because again, maybe if we did this next week, a Team Liquid did beat Fnatic, maybe a lot more people would be with you, right? Maybe people would be like, yeah, that's a totally reasonable take. But when Fnatic, you know, 2-0 Liquid and it's, you know, 13-3, 13-6, you know, then people are going to look back at this episode and be like, well, Shyo is an idiot. Liquid will not be able to beat Fnatic. The reason I've gone for Heretics is I actually feel like Fnatic, and they do this every so often, where they actually don't look that great and they just kind of rely on like heroes a lot of the time. And even when, like, you know, during 2023 or whatever, I like what would always happen in 2023 is Fnatic would win. Fnatic would win a round. It would cut to Mini in the coaching booth. He'd be fucking losing his mind, going, "What the fuck are we doing?" The commentators go, "Oh, haha, Mini, why is he so angry? They won the round." And it's because they weren't actually playing that well, but then someone would just hero them out of the round, right? And in 2023, the other teams weren't good enough to challenge that, right? Until the end of the year, I mean, teams just weren't good enough, right? And when we got to champs, finally those other teams at the top end were kind of good enough in and of themselves to challenge Fnatic and not let them get away with that bullshit. I think now in 2025 as well, Fnatic are a little bit shaky, and I don't like, if Fnatic go into champs or stick with this kind of banning of Corrode, I actually don't love that. Like, I don't think that will be great for them, because their Haven I'm questionable about, their Sunset I have questions on. Obviously Abyss will be coming back, which Fnatic weren't amazing at anyway when Abyss was last in the map pool. So, and then they're banning Corrode right now. So that would be like 4 maps where it's like, I'm not that sure if you're even that good at these maps, which is a lot to overcome by the time we get there. So I just think that Heretics are in a more solid place right now. I think Heretics have a bit more belief and are playing a bit better, so that's why I've gone Team Heretics. But I can probably guess that we both think that those 3 teams will make it. But just to be sure, Shyo, read out your 4 teams that you have going from EMEA.
Yes, okay. Number 2 is going to be Heretics.
Well, correct. I agree.
Yes.
So you don't even have Fnatic in the grand final. Wow, interesting.
No. Thinking about it more with how you're talking as well, we both have the exact same reasonings for why Fnatic's losing to our teams, which is, yes, they start off games 2-7. Alpha Year, like, drinks something on the side of the stage and then drops 4Ks 24/7. Or Kron pops off, or you know, Kayak pops off. Yeah, I agree with that. So in thinking about that, I'm just adjusting things on the fly here. Okay. Heretics second. We're getting a Team Liquid's Heretics banger at the very end. And that's even, I think, more sauce in my case. Anyways, well, that's a whole other conversation. Third place for me is Fnatic.
Correct. Well, I've got them second, but sure. Correct.
Yeah. We're top 3. Fourth for me.
Here we go. This is the one that matters.
The return of Abyss. We need the best Abyss team in the world. Plus, it's in Paris. Vitality are going to be 4th. That's my take.
And you know what's interesting?
What?
I agree. I also have Team Vitality down, which is so interesting that we've both picked the same team when, as I say, we've disagreed on the other regions where it's a lot more clear, essentially. And this 4th spot, I mean, like, just to show you the groups right now as well in EMEA. This is what the groups are looking like. Like, teams that could fairly reasonably make 4th place right now. Giants should make playoffs. Foot are close on points as well. BBL are very close on points. We've both picked Vitality. Gentle Mates, I'd love to say could make it. They're not going to make it. KC definitely could make it. Navi are actually in that ballpark as well, right? I would say there you've got 6 teams that I think reasonably you could make a case for. Now, some of them I think are stronger than others, right? I think Vitality would be up there. I think BBL would be up there. Foot are close on points, so if you're a Foot believer, they wouldn't have to do that much to supplant on points. And KC, and to be honest, Navi as well, with how they played in the last game against Fnatic. Like, if they carried on playing like that, I think you could definitely make a case. So I think you got 5 teams that you could reasonably make a case for in EMEA. What's interesting about this group in Group Alpha is one of those teams isn't even going to make playoffs, right? It's very possible that the team that we picked doesn't even make playoffs. Yeah. And as soon as Vitality don't make playoffs, it's pretty much over. Because, again, someone has to finish at least 4th place, and that will get you 3 points. And that 3 points will probably be enough to get you to 4th place in the points. So, really, it does just come down to who can make a bit of a playoff run. Obviously, we are a bit of a far way out in terms of knowing what the bracket will shape up to look like or anything like that, but it's interesting we've both gone Vitality. Let's start with them. Why Vitality? Why not these other teams?
So, I'll answer this with showing you what my 5th place thought was overall. I think I have Vitality beating out Na'Vi in a sense. It's just whether it's either in a head-to-head or Na'Vi just slightly go out behind. If Vitality do make it, I feel like Navi's my next up coming into things. And they're both for similar reasons. I'll talk about Vitality just in general first. Again, I'm going for more so less thinking about playoffs, more so thinking about what I want to see at champs. Being able to see Durka come back on a stage like that with a map pool like this would be amazing, especially with a team that has kind of a set leader now who's gaining more confidence week to week. I think this team still has the same firepower we saw at the beginning of Bangkok, honestly. I was really high on this team. I was saying they were going to win everything this year with their coach changes as well. That's one of the wrong Shyo moments of December. But now I feel like they finally got into a comfortable place to trust each other. I think the additions of Unfake, Kovac just look really good on the team. In general, too, I think Durka has a lot more room to be himself and not cover for people now, in a sense, especially I think off their last week. I know it was a loss to Heretics as well, but in losing too, you could see some of the ideas Vitality are coming up with are just good in general. The 2-play of their, or just being able to have double duelists now as well as a composition is just a really good thing for Vit. And yeah, just coming into this meta, coming in as a team, I think comparatively to everyone else in playoffs, their biggest challenge, in my opinion, is BBL. And if BBL play really well, push them out of even making playoffs, or they go up against them in a week.
This is the thing,
that's their biggest hurdle.
BBL play against Vitality, and similar to that RRQ versus DRX game that I talked about in terms of points, as I say, these two are right there, right? It's BBL on 6, Vitality on 7, as we currently stand. So winning that game, genuinely, if Vitality win that game and maybe Foot lose a couple, that could give them maybe just the little gap that they need, to push on and potentially, be okay there in terms of the points overall. One thing that I did think about doing, because I think this is quite interesting, is talking about those teams that I highlighted, right? Because I agree with you, right? I feel like Vitality are just the most I feel like they have the highest ceiling potentially of all these teams. Obviously, they've got Durka and less. I just feel like they've just got that little bit extra, right? And I do want to, if we take these teams though, right? Vitality, BBL, Foot, Giants, Navi, KC as the realistic options. Let's rank them 1 to 6 in terms of what. Let's come up with a little ranking for us. So we both agree with Vitality because we both put them 1, right? So now you said you put Navi 2. Out of these 6, you put Navi 2.
It's so much recency bias on the last week and looking at the peaks of Na'Vi. But Angel could just come in Walter White style and cook something crazy, and then we're back to bottom 2 Na'Vi. I want to put number 2 probably. I want to say BBL or Giants.
I want to say BBL. So you said BBL, so I'll put BBL 2. Now you just mentioned Giants. Now I'm gonna be real. I'd put Giants 6 out of this group.
6. I know you. Why would you put Giants 6?
I just don't have much faith in them. Again, if I'm talking about ceiling, and I think you do need a high ceiling to make 4th, for instance, right? Whoever does make fourth will probably be playing at least a pretty good level for what they can. And I just think that Giants' ceiling is the lowest, and I don't trust them to even make that ceiling consistently.
Here's my thing.
Go on.
Their floor is so high though. Like they're just a budget heretic.
But this is quite interesting. I'm thinking that EMEA might be quite good, and therefore you'll need to have a high ceiling to make it. You're saying EMEA might be quite shit, and if you have a high floor, the other teams will just lose against you anyway. Quite an interesting dynamic. Okay, so you think Giants, so you'd put Giants third. I'd be happy.
I would.
Oh man, it's tough.
I think. Okay, no. Oh, fuck. Yeah,
Go on, tell me who you'd put 6. Let's see who we.
Okay, let's say it at the same time. 3, 2, 1.
Foot. Okay.
Okay, we're good. So
Okay.
foot 6.
So
why
foot
do you
6.
have foot in 6? Why do you have foot in 6?
I've watched them play.
Okay, challenging you again on your theory. Is their ceiling the lowest out of every team here?
No. I think Foot might have the biggest gap from their ceiling to floor, personally. I think
like
Foot's
that,
ceiling
yeah.
is actually fairly high, but Zeus is having stinkers right now. Like I said on Pledger, he's the 3rd lowest rated player in EMEA, which
crazy.
is insane. That is insane, considering like where he's been before. If he went back to like early like kickoff Zeus, you know, where he's one of the highest rated players, I think, or you know, is at least doing pretty well, then I think they could be a very strong team. But I don't trust them, to be honest. But I don't trust Giants either. Like if I was doing this rating, I'd probably put like Giants 5. Oh man, Navi or KC.
That's okay. So we can make Giants 5.
Probably Navi and then KC.
Yeah.
You like that?
You could slot Giants beside Foot, or you could slot Giants above KC or Navi, right? Like that's whatever. I don't mind them at 5. That's totally fine. Like skill 4, we'll see where it takes them. But the question is, you're putting Navi, or the answer, you're putting Navi above KC. Why are you doing Navi above
I don't
KC?
know. That was a really tough one. And actually, as soon as I did it, I kind of thought, do I think that? Because again, I'm basing it off that last week. But I don't I'm like, will Navi play like that? I don't like being a 1 week, you know, Owen, right? I like Navi were terrible the week before. They were really good against Fnatic. Well, they're probably somewhere in the middle of that, right? Which is like okay, but nothing special. Like not that great. So I actually, thinking about it more, yeah, I'd put KC3 and Navi 4.
Yeah, I was gonna say the supporting arguments to have for that is that again, Navi is looking good against Fnatic. Not to take anything away from Fnatic, but if you look at some of these games, if you go to that Fnatic game, if you look at hot starts, right? Navi do that thing where they get up against Fnatic and have like one good half. And that kind of supplements like a lot of the power they have against a team that usually ends up with slow starts. Look at Ascent as well. Like Fnatic have a really bad half, come back. The game looks closer than it is just because they're playing a team like Fnatic that, as you say, and I agree with, are struggling to look dominant without hero plays. And like hero plays is what brings them back. Look at the Icebox, for example, right? First half on attack, Navi's doing really well. And they just had like, they were smeaging on him, honestly. It wasn't even like crazy ideas. They were just outgunning these guys until I think it was Alpha that started to just wake up. Like Fnatic had so many retakes at the end of it on defense. But
yeah,
either way, I think it gives a lot to Navi to see them facing against a Fnatic that's in this type. Comparatively, when we were watching KC, we were like rooting against them like villains, man. Like, and they looked good. Like Avez was dropping kill after kill. We're like, please stop, man, please. And the community saw it as well, right? The amount of people that picked up Avez on VFL and were just rocking with them too. I think their ceiling could be even higher if they get to play teams like Fnatic, Liquid, and the rest of the pack later on in the weeks. But yeah, just to give context for that one.
Okay.
And now I'm even wondering, is Vitality the 4th slot? Like I'm questioning everything.
Well, it is very tough. It is extremely tough in EMEA to pick that 4th spot. As I say, it's kind of between 6 teams, but potentially even tougher is the Americas region. Now, here's the thing with Americas, if we take a look at the points. There are 2 teams that are already guaranteed in champs. It's G2 and it's Sentinels. Are both guaranteed. They are making it 100% locked in. And it's kind of like EMEA, but instead of it just being 1 slot, like that 4th place slot, it's now 2 slots. So again, if any, you know, if we go down to NRG here, right? So you got MIBR on 8, Crew on 7, 100 Thieves on 5, Cloud9 on 5, EG on 5, NRG on 4, right? Then a bit of a drop to 2G11 Loud. who might either need to really get it together and like win out their games. Well, we'll get to you and Loud in a second, but basically, especially up to NRG here, any of these, what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teams. If any of those 6 teams finish in third, like they don't even need to finish in the top 2. If any of those 6 teams finish in third, they will almost certainly make champs. Just from the 4 points that you get alone, right? Like, it would take energy up to MIBR. And if you think they're going to finish third, then you probably think they're pretty good and are going to win at least a couple more group stage games, right? Like, so, and the tiebreaker, by the way, if they finish on the same points, is how many points you get in stage 2. So finishing third and getting 4 points, you're going to win any tiebreaker as well. Because that's 4 points.
Yeah.
Automatically.
Yeah.
So, basically, I mean, we're going to do what we did before. Right, I'm going to start off by saying who I think will win Americas. Probably don't need to spend as much time on who we think is going to win, assuming you've gone with someone sensible.
Yeah.
I've gone with Sentinels winning stage 2.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Have you done the same?
I've not done the same. No.
Who have you
I
got
have
winning
two
stage
versions
2?
of this. You know, my theory, if it works out,
If
is
you say
Loud.
I'm gonna fucking.
So in theory land we have Loud, all right, but in realistic land, because I'm fair to this, let's have some sensible cranial discussions. I have 100 Thieves winning out.
100 Thieves winning stage 2. Okay.
Yes.
I don't think I really need to justify my Sen pick. I think most people would think, yeah, that makes sense. You're gonna have to justify why are 100 Thieves gonna be able to supplant G2 and Sentinels.
Sure. G2 in playoffs, especially in a BO5.
Or is the Spank Theory bounce back that strong?
I think the Spank Theory bounce back is a situation as well. So 100 Thieves, a team on the rise especially, right? Like I think a PRX bounce back is not going to be as crazy as 100 Thieves bounce back, but they're going to actually learn. PRX is like, that happened. Guys, let's go out to dinner and let's come back and smash these guys and see what's up. 100 Thieves is like, here are all our mistakes again, right? Just like in the NRG game, I think it was 100 Thieves' bind that looked terrible. And then they came back against Crew, and their bind was like fucking master locked. Like they got an architect to like lead line the safe. Like it was crazy. Again, against MIBR, things looked shaky just on confidence, on setups for 100 Thieves. As you said, they were playing around where the spike just got planted. Took them 40 seconds to get in. The protocols, what's happening under pressure. All this gets fixed in the next weeks. They might even lose in the playoffs, in my opinion. But then through the lower bracket, another bounce back comes in. 100 Thieves are my bounce back theory, which it's trademarked right now. A new theory coming in. When they lose, I feel like they just have 2 guaranteed wins coming for them, which to me says they're ending the stage 4-1, which means they might have a chance to end first in the group, which means they might just need to win 2 games to make it all the way 2 champs, be comfortable, and then face Sen and win again. I don't know what it is about Sen. Like, this was the thing I was thinking about. 100 Thieves, I think, are the best team right now. When they have momentum, they can just shut out a game. Just like Crew, who are really, really strong when they have momentum. And we've seen that against when they played against Crew. They made Crew look like babies in a tram. And they were just ready to go. But MIBR did make 100 Thieves also look like crying babies in that tram when they didn't have momentum. Now, Sentinels, we've seen them play a little bit. Honestly, they play with really sound strategy. And in my opinion, though, kind of reactively. They don't look to take momentum from the game. They have really good setups, really good understandings of the meta, really strong team. Like they are the Great Wall of China right now inside, just on Earth, like the biggest defensive structure. But I think Thieves have a chance to grab momentum from the game against Sentinels. And if that happens, I think it's their grand finals. No matter if it's a BO5, BO7, BO9. If this team can get in the lead, they just win, is my theory for the grands. And then
the anti-gentlemates.
Like going in. Anti-gentlemates, yes. They are the rude guys. They're thieves. They're thieves. It makes sense.
Okay. I mean, I'm so down for. I did not expect you to say that. Yeah. But I think it's very interesting. And look, I mean, people might call you crazy, but I mean, literally, pretty much the exact same thing happened last year. 100 Thieves won stage 1 of Americas, despite coming into it looking kind of like they did now. Like, kind of people were expecting them to be, a decent team, and then they ended up winning stage 1, right, and going to. What was it? I can't remember.
It's just not Hero this time.
But yeah, basically,
it's not Asuna Go Kill anymore. It's actually a sound team. So
yeah, so it's possible. I'm not saying that I think it will happen, but let's dive through. Well, I mean, I'm gonna go through my teams. They're going. So I've got Sen beating. I've got G2. Well, you got Sen.
Yeah.
I've got G2.
I also have G2.
Well, they are
inside.
definitely going, so you better have G2.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
like it's
yeah,
already happened, Shayo. I've got bad
yeah,
news for you. If you
yeah.
don't pick them, you're wrong.
Yeah.
Then
G2's, yeah.
third, MIBR.
Correct.
Correct. And then fourth, I've got 100 Thieves, which I know you.
Oh, so we have the same top 4.
So
That's
again,
crazy.
we've gone the same top 4.
That's
Interesting.
crazy.
Interesting. Because again, let's just do what we did for EMEA, where we take a look at like the group stage and like where we are right now in terms of teams that I think have a realistic chance, right? Obviously, Sen and G2, they're already in, right? We know that.
Yep.
I would say realistic chance. From this group, to be honest, I would probably only say Cloud9 right now have a realistic chance.
I would agree.
But
agree.
in this group, I mean,
yeah, it's come on, give me it, just a little. Yeah. You can erase that one. Listen, this is the week, kind of like with Liquid versus Fnatic, or like some of these BBL Vitality matchups. I think just to go for like my second row of theories, I have allowed over 100 Thieves actually for champs. So it'd be Sen, G2, MIBR, Loud as the 4th seed coming in. And then Loud is taking 100 Thieves' space as the team that's coming in and winning.
That's what your heart wants. That's your heart. So your head says 100 Thieves, your heart is saying Loud.
If Loud win today, or this week, that's the situation. Yeah.
So we both had MIBR. Let's talk about MIBR then, because we both had them going in. Why MIBR? Why not NRG? Why not Crew? Why not Cloud9? Why MIBR instead?
Question with a question. Why Sentinels? Why G2 just above everyone, man? It's a gap. It's just a skill diff. Like, this team playing at its peak is just a skill diff. And you saw just with one guy getting all his potato head pieces in the right spots, he's just popping off, man. Cortezia was just in the business, bro. And everyone else was playing really well too, like they're supposed to be playing. When that happens, we're back to stage 1. And what was stage 1? G2 Sen, or whoever you like more, MIBR, big gap, the rest of the teams.
It was,
yeah.
Yeah. So we just think so basically we just think that MIBR's peak is just better than everyone else's peak, essentially, apart from G2 and Sen. Yeah. Right? Like they just
not even the peak, their floor. Their floor is
floor as well.
And we fixed the creeks. That's the issue. That's
well, yeah, they needed to fix that floor, because the floor had a massive gaping hole in it that they fell down for like a week or two there. But yes, if they have fixed that floor, then I agree they could be back on. Now, here's the thing. Another reason why I picked MIBR, quite frankly, is because they are the team that's in the best spot in terms of champ points, right? Like they need to do less than other teams might do, right? So for instance, you know, let's say something crazy happens with EG again. Maybe EG are just the playoff goats, right? They sneak into playoffs and do what they did last stage, right? Where they go on a run in playoffs, but they aren't even that good. Well, let's say, you know, the group stage ends up with like MIBR on 10 points and EG on like 6, right? Well, then if EG did finish like 4th and got 3 points from it, they still wouldn't overtake MIBR, right? So there are some like different ways that MIBR could not even make top 4, but still got in as well. So I'm just looking at it in terms of like percentage-wise, they just have the best chance because they do have more points than some of these other teams. So that just gives them more outs essentially of being able to do it. So and as you said, they also, like, if they can, like on paper they just are the 3rd best team, I think. Like if they just play to their best, if everyone plays to their best, MIBR would finish 3rd basically. So yeah, I'm with you there as well. Let's talk about some other teams that we didn't mention though. So of these other teams, I mean, we could do what we did for EMEA, right? Where, I mean, I will include EG in this because they do have some champ points. So like there maybe, you know, is a world. Go on, I'll even include your Loud just for the sake of it. So we've got, let's say we've got 8 teams to rate here, right? And we're putting MIBR 1, I guess. And we both,
honestly,
well, do you want to put 100 Thieves 1?
I want to put 2G as a part of this as well. If you're putting Loud in, like in terms of potential.
Okay,
like,
we can put 2G in there. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. They could make playoffs. Like they could make playoffs, and if they do, then they have a chance. So, which honestly, the best thing to happen, the funniest thing to happen, and what we should all be rooting for, is 2G make champs and finish better than G2. and G2 have to play an Ascension. That's what you should be rooting for, because
Wait,
it would
why
be
are we rooting for that?
because it would be so fucking funny to see G2 absolutely annihilate some tier 2 teams.
That's true.
It would
true.
be so fucking funny to make G2. Like, imagine G2 finish with, like, genuinely G2's points record this year. Like, obviously we'll see how it goes forward with, like, champ points and the history of Valorant. Their champ points might end up being the highest, like, of all time. Right? Like, they're on 21 points. Like, that, like, PRX are on 13. They've won a Masters.
Yeah.
They're on 13.
Yeah.
G2 are on 21. Like, they might, obviously, like, champ points didn't exist when Fnatic went on their run. They probably would have had higher, but, like, it would just be funny to see such a team that has been so dominant in tier 1 all year have to play in a tier 2 tournament. Like, that would just be so fucking funny. And imagine if they didn't win. Imagine if they fucking got relegated.
There's a chance. There's actually a chance, because I've been watching challengers for a bit. PRX is in tier 2 right now in NA. They're called Envy. They're just a bunch of ranked players that
imagine if G2 didn't make it back into the league. That would be the funniest shit of all time.
Yeah. Actually,
that would be genuinely the funniest shit of all time.
Yeah.
Anyway. MIBR 1. 100 Thieves 2?
Yeah, I think just based off our predictions, we can safely say that, yes. But
okay.
Here's the question I have for you, right?
Go on.
Crew, and their long-standing just prowess of being a team, their legacy so far, have kept like a little bit of their roster over time as well from the stages.
They love making
Why
champs.
are they not 2? And why are we not predicting Crew? Let's talk about Crew. What's wrong with Crew?
What's wrong with Crew is, well, I think that Crew will improve with their double duelist stuff. I think, though, that right now, that... man, it is tough, because when I think about, like, Americas as a region, I think right now is kind of set up for Crew, because I don't think enough of these teams are playing, like, good enough Valorant to where, like Crew could just out-aim everyone. They could.
Yeah, their floor is pretty high, too.
They could just out-aim everyone. They are a threat, I think.
Ceiling. Yeah.
They are a threat. I would probably put... Well, here's the thing. I would probably put Crew... I think Crew and NRG would be my next 3 and 4 of these teams.
I'll put Crew as 3 just because we're high on 100 Thieves. We're putting Thieves' ceiling above Crew's floor currently. Because Crew, okay, yes, very, very good skill and whatnot, but they've consistently shown the Wi-Fi doesn't work. Their hands, their keyboards are disconnected. Dude, that playoff game where they just completely... Did they almost get 13-0'd? I forget what day it was. It might have been on Icebox or something. They just could not aim. And like Dryad was nowhere to be found. You might have to do the post-game interview, but it was crazy, man. The fact that that still exists and that showed up in stage 2 as well a little bit, we're like, what are Crew doing? Yeah. And some of these ideas on Corrode as well, like what is going on? They look better in Tuxenia than they did in stage 2. It's crazy. I think it's cool to put 100 Thieves over them. Now, NRG, I have a challenge for you.
Go on.
Why are you putting NRG above C9 or Lev?
I think, again, it is so tough because, again, a lot of... I have concerns about Crew's calling. But I do still have concerns about NRG's calling. I think NRG are the kind of team for me where if they have a good game plan, they win. But I think as soon as they don't, they struggle. Like I think they're a team that struggles to adapt. With that said, man, it is tough because I think, maybe I don't like NRG. Now that you've questioned me on it, the more I think about it, maybe I don't love them that much.
I'll make it easier, right? Forget about C9. Just look at Omega itself. I would say two sides of the same, like,
who do NRG
dollar.
Play?
They are playing
MIBR and Crew. Wow. So we are going to find out we're going to find out if we're right in this next couple of weeks about NRG, if we're putting them below them both.
NRG and Lev. They, I think, are two sides of the same coin. If you if you like this team, NRG, you like it for the same reasons you would like Lev, right? Mata go kill, Sato go kill. You got Brock, you have Calm. Like there's situations on both teams that are the same in terms of how they solve rounds, how they are,
bit suspicious of their overall calling, IGLing situations. Yeah, they are quite similar now that you say it. And yeah, I think for NRG, they're like a baby Liquid as well. Where Liquid have like two. Like, they got Mata and Psalm. Liquid have got Kiko and Nats. But Liquid are overall just better, to be honest. And, are more and those two are more consistent than Mata and Psalm as well. And it's like, oh, man, this thing is so... But honestly, like I've been a Lev doubter for a bit of a while. I just don't love the direction they've gone in as a team. I actually missed the last Lev game, so I feel
Oh,
like
so
I
you're gonna
might have
see.
missed. I saw Sato week 1 and obviously he popped off, but I feel like
Yeah,
I've somewhat missed on this kind of. I didn't see it with my own two little beady eyes of Sato truly, just fucking everyone. But they still
yeah,
lost. That's what I'm struggling with. Like everyone's going crazy
yeah,
about Sato, but I'm like, but they still did lose. So
yeah,
that makes me think like, and as we're saying, we don't think that NRG are world beaters, and they still lost.
yeah.
So that's why I'm just down on that because it's like, well, you had an insane performance and still lost.
Yeah. Okay. No. Then you could have, okay. Then my question is, why is C9 not in the upper echelon? Is it just because of their playoff choke potential, or is it because they faced fraud teams in the first real challenge they came up against? They just completely got boomed.
Well, that is C9 are a tough team to know where they are. We were talking about this on Plat Check because their group is just so warped.
Yeah.
They're like the Group Omega team that accidentally got put in Group Alpha. Um,
Yeah.
I think, and I would love to go back and take a look at this more myself as well. But looking at the Sen C9 game, like
Yeah.
Oxy didn't have a good game. And
Yeah.
I'm wondering whether if what happens to C9 in playoffs is, or any time that C9 have like a big game against a big team, is I wonder if Oxy thinks I need to carry and just makes a ton of
Mhm.
mistakes because I actually will after this probably go back and take a look at it, but I don't have time today. I want because against Sen, like he's making a lot of mistakes. I wonder if that's just like the case where his mentality in these big games is completely wrong, right? And he just thinks I need to just carry my team completely and just think he has to do it on his own, and that obviously leads to the whole team playing much worse because then, Oxy's fucking miles away from the rest of the team. They can't trade him. You're in 4v5s, and the rest of them aren't good enough to win that, right?
So are you talking about stage two right now, or how the
I'm talking about
playoffs
in
went last
general. I
season?
think it could be a
Because
problem with C9 in general that like Oxy, like the mentality of this team isn't there. And I also just think, I mean, yeah, I just don't think this team, like, it gets to a point, right? And the same thing is happening to mates now, right? Where it's like, C9 know that the narrative around them is that they can't win in playoffs. Like, they
yeah,
know, like, as soon as they go into any playoff game, they will know that this is going to be talked about. And I think
yeah,
when you're in that situation, and it happened to Heretics as well, right? When they got to grand finals, it's tough to get out of it. It is really, really tough to get out of that spiral. And I think almost like Team Heretics got blessed by EWC because it was a grand
yeah,
final that not as many people were watching. Not as like it was like prestigious enough to where like people cared, but it wasn't VCT, so there wasn't as many people watching. There wasn't as much chatter about it. There wasn't as much community narrative about it. It just kind of happened, and they won it, and I think that was
yeah.
great for them. But that's not going to happen for Cloud9. You
No,
can't go into Red Bull home ground playoffs and it doesn't hit the same, right?
yeah,
So I think they're just going
Uh,
to struggle. I think that they just will struggle, and I think again like the funny thing about C9 is I think if you put them in this group of Group Omega, they would finish in the middle. Like
yeah,
I think that they
yeah.
are
I could
just the
agree with that.
middle of the middle of the middle teams.
Yeah.
Like they are the prime meridian.
They're literally the what's it called? CET, is the zero time zone. They're literally
GMT.
going
Yeah,
through
they're
GMT.
GMT.
That's what it is. Yeah,
UTC. UTC plus 0. That's what
yeah,
Cloud9 are.
yeah.
They are
Oh,
like yeah, and so I
yeah.
would put them in the middle of this group, right? I would put maybe they're fourth, honestly. Maybe it's now.
No, so here's my thing,
Go
right?
on.
I was trying to make the joke that everything you're saying about Oxy is like a podcast. You could have just lip synced to like what you were to something you said about the playoffs last season. Because that was the situation. That's literally what happened to Oxy 24/7. That's what happened to the team with C9, in my opinion. It was just desperation from every player. Like Vic was doing weird things to try to make the team in positions win when the teams needed to play together and play slower. Lotus was a complete identifier of that against Sentinels in weeks before. But I agree with everything you said about C9. Um, Against if you just watch C9 versus EG, it'll tell you everything you need to know about the team. That should have been a gap diff. That should have been the definer and an easy game for C9 to put away if they fixed all the problems they have as a team. But it was a messy game. I think me and you were complaining about it a lot when we were watching it too. Just a messy game in general. I wouldn't put C9 in 4. I would actually equate them with a team like EG right now, even though they did beat them. I put them slightly above their level. I would put NRG in 4 now because they did beat Lev, regardless of what we want to say. Proof is in the pudding. If they're head to head, they won the head to head. I put maybe Lev in 5. The question now is that Loud beat Lev, right? And Loud at their peaks. What are we thinking about with Loud at their peaks versus Leviathan at their floor? Like Sato is insane, but so is Verdi. And like where have Loud really messed up? So Loud messed up against an NRG that was looking to come and clap back after their loss.
Look,
like
Shyo.
Let me cope. Come on, let's talk about Loud. And then Crew, they took a map off Crew, but then also they get spanked a little bit, like on Ascent. Like they look clueless on Ascent. It's very true.
I can't get on board with this team. I can't. I can't get on board at all. I would put EG above Loud.
That's my question. Like that's my
why did they beat Lev? Because I think Lev's floor is quite low, and I think Loud can win ranked games, which they might get in some of these games. Right? Crew, that was a ranked game. They happened to lose that ranked game, but I just don't believe in this team. I'm really sorry. I would love to hop on board. You got me fucking picking Luke Show for some reason in fucking VFL, and he turned into a pumpkin. I mean, it doesn't help that today I made a video about Breach, and I'm watching them play Breach on Haven against Crew. And yeah, Breach is shit. I mean, that's one thing. You're playing Breach, so already you don't know what you're doing. But two, like the coordination. I was watching some of the sometimes people don't realize, like, you know, Brent was talking about this game on Plat Chat yesterday. He was like, "Oh, I love this game. It was so, you know, like fun and entertaining, even if it was, you know, a bit ranked and sloppy and jailed, just shooting, yeah." But then when you actually, like, if you go back and VOD review those games, you realize how fucking shocking it is. Like, how fucking awful it is. And it was from both teams. Like, I was just watching, like, some of Haven to start off with. I was just like, fuck me, this was bad, wasn't it? Because that's the thing. It makes me laugh when people, like, comment about, like, live analysis, because as someone who does, you know, live analysis and, you know, VOD reviews a lot, you can't live and analyze Valorant games. It just doesn't work. Like, it's just not, it's a completely different thing. If you want analysis, watch a VOD review. Because when you don't know what's about to happen, it's impossible. Like, it's just impossible to actually give, like, super detailed, good analysis all the time. Because, like, and this has happened, I'm sure, you know, to you, it's happened to me countless times. You are, like, talking about, oh, this team, look, they're doing this, they're doing all that, right? Like, oh, shit, they're going for this kind of default. Like, this makes sense. And then they'll not do it. Or do something completely fucking stupid. It's like, well, why did they do that? Right? And it doesn't make sense. And and it just doesn't work. It's like, what the like your whole theory of like, oh, this must be their plan. This is what they've talked about. And then they don't do that. And it's like, well, what the fuck are they thinking? I have no idea. And in a live moment, you can't tell. Normally during a VOD review afterwards, you can go back and be like, oh, okay, they are just clueless. Like they just looked into doing this a couple times and didn't actually know what they were doing. But Loud, like when you watch them, that's what it is like. Like, I feel like when they do stuff well, it's because they looked into it or they aimed well.
No.
I can't get on board, child. I can't get on board. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry. How many teams are there here? 9? I'm putting them 8.
Okay, are you putting 2G at 9?
Yeah.
Okay. Why is 2G worse than Loud? I know we don't have to talk about it too deeply, but why is there like?
Honestly, I actually you could make a case that they are even above EG, 2G. I think, if you wanted to, do you want to make that case?
Yeah, I know I'm here, but I also know how bad the team I'm rooting for is right now. I was looking at their highest potential. You can put Loud in 9. I don't mind. You can put them like below Furia, actually, because that's kind of heinous.
I'm not stupid.
Like, you can put them at 9 currently for where they are. We're not accepting any members on the submarine currently. We're going through maintenance.
And I'm an EG hater, so I'm gonna do this.
Okay, then let's figure out Lev then. So Lev versus C9, right? And we'll talk about 2G in a second because we've been talking about Lev and C9 a lot. Let's solidify it. If we were thinking about NRG and Lev, and we've seen a lot of the head-to-heads here, across the pond, how does it work? Let's think about, you know, we're thinking about playoffs as well here, right? Like the potential for playoffs. C9, how many points do they have comparative to Lev? Are they both kind of in the bottom rocker? Like
C9 have 5, Lev have 2. So points-wise, it's not looking good for Lev. Lev, I think that's solidified my opinion.
Yeah. That's what I'm thinking too, like in terms of comfortability, and then C9 have, I think, a bit less to fix, right? They've been a team that's been together for a while. They've seen playoffs before. They face these
Yeah.
teams. Lev, new system, could have a higher peak and a higher floor. Don't get me wrong. But new system in playoffs, you have to pick experience, I think, over the new system.
Yeah.
Now, why is EG so low? Explain your hate.
I mean, I've been
That's
an
my
EG hater
question.
this whole year. I've been an EG hater this whole
Really?
year. I think that
So-
people like EG because they come across as like a soft, like nice little friendly team. Everyone likes Potter. You know, they got night like everyone likes Yay, you know. But I just think that they've just been I know they had that run in the playoffs,
Yeah.
and I think that I don't think it could happen again. That's the thing. It could happen
Dude,
again.
Derek
And
on
being
Chambers,
real,
like
like
that
if I was
week-
genuinely, if I was putting my life on it, I would say obviously 2G are below EG. Like in reality,
Really?
that's what it is. Yeah, definitely. Because
I
EG
think
do
after
have
last
more hope.
week-
Like Yay could pop off.
Even after last week.
Last week was
Dude.
bad. Don't get me wrong, and that's the thing. EG are capable of playing pretty awful. The thing about EG
Yeah.
though is, and what carried them in playoffs the first time, and what could carry them again now, is when I look at like all of these teams here, and in Americas in general, quite chaotic, quite messy at times. And EG, I think by just playing at a super slow pace, yeah, when you're playing against G2, they're not falling for that shit. These guys, they'll fall for that shit. And this happened during the playoffs, stage 1. Like, I think did EG play Crew, and Crew just looked clueless. Like Crew
That's
looked
what I was
like
talking about.
they
Yeah.
had never seen a team not hit a site in 40 seconds. Like they looked like they had just scrimmed ranked for 10 weeks and then come into a pro game and be like, what the fuck is this? Like what? And so, and that's the thing. I think with EG's style, it's like when it goes wrong, you look fucking stupid. You look awful. It's like, what on earth are you doing? But when you play against teams who don't know what they're doing against that, i.e. pretty much everyone in this group, I would say, you can look really smart because they start doing stupid stuff. Then you start going like, what are they doing? When they start like randomly peeking out on their own straight into your crosshair. You know, so I do think that's an advantage for EG, is that they have a set defined style that is different to, you know, the others in Americas. And I think that honestly is a direction that, like if I was a team in EMEA, I think if the same would be true if you played fast, super fast in EMEA. Right? Other teams just aren't used to it. You would get an advantage from that. Same in Pacific. If you played super slow in Pacific, you get an advantage from that because most other teams don't. Right?
Yep.
And I think that's the case for EG. I think the case is basically what happened in stage 1. But they finished like 3rd instead of 4th. That's the case, I guess. Which, now that I've made that case, I actually think it could happen. But I think that they are quite shite.
Yeah. I mean, what do they have? They have, okay, Sentinels, and they end with Furia. So are they even making playoffs is the question.
They just need to beat
have to
Furia.
beat
They
Furia.
just got to beat Furia. But surely they'll beat Furia. Again, are Furia a team who's going to figure out how to play against slow Valorant? Are Furia a team who's going to figure out how to play against any Valorant? The thing that would be, again, I said this on Pledge, it would be funny if 2G made playoffs with 1 win.
Yeah. Yeah.
That would be
And
very
it might
funny.
be possible.
And it might be
I think
possible. But I think
Oh,
EG will beat Furia. And I think that will probably be enough for them. And they will go to playoffs and feel okay. But the thing is, though, they might start in a lower bracket as well. So that, again, is like not great.
But Senji 2, I might be 100 Thieves, in reality, is the wave.
That's a
little bit of
perfect
gap.
pick. Yeah, it's a great pick.
Yeah.
I almost would wonder what the community consensus would be here, because I do think,
Well, we have a little bit of a bias. I think we're 100 Thieves bias, where there's some people in the community that'll be like, Crew could be up there. If
yeah,
Crew are just
I
playing
think
consistent.
Crew, I think quite a few people might pick NRG as well.
That is
I don't
silly.
think the
That is
community
silly.
would pick Cloud9.
No. Some believers, but no.
No. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. So the teams going to champs: Sen, Jisoo, MRBR, 100 Thieves, 100% locked in. Apparently, Team Heretics, Fnatic, Liquid, and Vitality are 100% locked in. There is no
Nice.
debate. In China, EDG, BLG, and XLG, welcome to champs. And then one of Wolves or DRG will make it.
Okay.
And in Pacific, it is GenG, PRX, DRX, and then one of T1 or RRQ. That is who's going to champs. Sounds like a good group of teams overall that we've got going there. So yeah, that's really all I have to say. I had fun. I hope you had fun, Shio.
I did too. Last question for you, TMV.
Go on.
Who's winning champs
Great
out of
question.
all those teams?
Right now, if you got me to pick, who is winning champs?
Yep. Bonus question. What is the grand finals? If you want to answer that, but you can just say
Okay,
who's winning.
I'm gonna say the grand final will be. Ooh, I'm gonna say the grand final will be G2 versus Gen G, and Gen
Holy.
G will win. I'm gonna say
Okay.
Pacific does the sweep, and all three winners are Pacific. That's what I'm saying right now. Go on, Shao. Who's your champs grand final?
This is interesting. G2 for me as
Okay.
well, which is crazy because out of all teams we have one person in there. I'm having trouble between three teams, and I'm not sure if
Wolves?
I'm allowed to talk about all three.
Pick
That would
one.
be
Pick
cool.
one team.
Fnatic.
But who
Fnatic.
wins?
G2.
Wow, G2 beat Fnatic. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, some interesting Preds. We'll see. We'll see. Champs, I mean, that's still a while away, to be honest. I mean,
Yeah.
a lot could happen from now and then. I mean, to be fair, well, I have picked Gen G, but Fnatic are pretty much in, and G2 are definitely in. So we have picked teams that will almost certainly make it. So that's good. But
Yeah.
we shall see. Thank you for joining me, Shao, for this episode of Cosmic Divide. Subscribe to the Ascend channel for more of this goodness. I'll be back in a couple weeks. Don't know with who yet. We'll probably at that point be talking about the actual playoff brackets and, you know, going through them and predicting them and all that when we have a bit more. But yeah, I thought this was fun to check up on the points and whatnot. Shio, thanks for being with me again, and have a nice day, everyone. And I'll see you next time.
Bye.